People tell you to learn Blender or Cinema 4D for motion graphics. I know, both are fast and well suited for motion design. But if you already use 3D Studio Max, don't worry. You can also create pro-level animated scenes and visual effects. I will be sharing my 15 years of computer graphics experience with you. Today I'm gonna show you how we will create this motion design scene in 3D Studio Max. Follow me and let's go. Let's go to the top view. Then from the Shapes section, select a rectangle and draw a rectangle here. We can set its dimensions to 90 by 150. Next, we need to convert to editable spline. Now, by selecting the vertices, select all the points and set them to corner. Then, when we scroll down the panel, we see the fillet function. We can set its value to 20. We can see the corners become rounded, and since it looks a bit rough, we go to the interpolation and active adaptive. We need to draw a new rectangle, and after drawing it, to center it, we can use the snap tools. And then we can set its dimensions to something like 15 by 190. We need to copy the rectangle. Because we are going to divide our main rectangle, we will copy it with the snap tools, setting the copy number to 5. Then by selecting all these rectangles, we can center them with the snap tool. By the way, the shortcut for snap tool is the S key. Now we need to draw a circle exactly in the center. And after drawing the circle, to center it immediately, we can use the Align tool again. When we click on the main rectangle, the X, Y, and Z positions and pivot points need to be selected. Now we need to attach all of them. So by selecting the main rectangle and clicking Attach Multiple button, a window like this appears, and here displays shapes need to be activated. Then I select all the shapes here and click Attach. Now, as you can see, they are all merged together, and by selecting the segment sub-object, we need to activate crossing selection. With this way, all elements within the selected area will be selected. And by selecting them, we just press Delete. Then since each rectangle has two sides, we can see overlapping lines here. So we delete them as well. Now we need to copy our object, and while holding Shift, move it in any direction. Let's set the number of copies to 5. Yes. Our crossing option is active. We need to deactivate it. Now we can select our object. Then from the selection panel, select spline, and in each section delete the unnecessary parts. We need to do the same for the others. So let's quickly go through them. As we can see in the spline, there are unnecessary sections and we need to trim them. So in the selection panel, select spline and click Trim at the bottom. Now we need to trim these unnecessary sections. Right after trimming, we select the vertices and weld them to merge. We do the same for the second one, but here the difference is that the circle intersects with the line. So I will show you this as an example as well. Then again, we select the vertices and weld all the points together. After that, we go through the rest in the same way without doing too much of them. After trimming all sections, I select the remaining 5 shapes. With the Align tool, click our spline. Since all pivots are the same, they will align to the same point. Our splines are now ready, and here from the Modify panel, we open the modifier list, and by typing bevel, we apply the bevel profile modifier. We need to increase the extrude value. We increase it, but we cannot see their intersections. And set bevel depth to 0.3. We need to reduce the outline offset value, not bad at all. Now going back to the top view, we need to draw the circle. After drawing the circle, when we click on any shapes with the align tool, it comes exactly to the center. When we activate adaptive, we get the smoother look. When we click on one of the shapes, we can copy the bevel profile modifier from it and apply it to the circle. Then we select all our details and from the object color section, give them a color. On second thought, it's better to give all of them the same bevel profile. So I select them all, delete the bevel profiles they have, and pass the bevel profile I copied earlier. We can increase the extrude value a bit. Also, by adjusting the bevel depth values and outline offset, we can get a more accurate look. Looks good enough. Now we need to draw a new rectangle again, setting its value to say 90 by 150. We center it with the align tool. Convert it to editable spline, select the vertices and set them to corner. Then I enter the field value. From the selection panel, I select spline and set the outline value to 0.5. I need to delete the old spline from here. Now we draw another rectangle. We center it with the align tool again. When we press Shift G together, we hide the geometry in the scene. I select the rectangle and convert it to the editable spline. I attach to the previous rectangle. Then pressing Shift G again, we bring our geometry back. Now, by giving it an extrude, about 7.5 is fine, maybe. And selecting spline from the selection panel, I select the element in the center. Here I set the outline value to -15. Since the center spline is unnecessary, I delete it. And from the modifier list, I choose edit poly. Then from selection, choose polygon and click on any polygon inside. When I double click the next one, it's almost like doing a ring selection. And when I extrude it, I choose local normal and increase the extrude value. From the top view, we can see it better. Looks good enough, so I click OK. I select a polygon, double click the one opposite to ring it again, and then holding Shift, drag it down. To select the segments around the selection polygon, I hold Shift and select the segment option from the selection panel. Since we only need to center segments, we deselect the others. We also need to select the lower segment by double-clicking it, and I quickly loop it. Now I chamfer it and increase the value a bit. I think it's enough. Increase the segment count. 7 seems enough here. Okay, I selected another segment, double click and apply the same chamfer values to it. Looks pretty good, and now from the selection panel, I select the vertices to widen our object a bit more. I select the points at the edges, make sure they are all selected, and when I scale, I slightly increase its width and length. Looks good enough. Now we need to set up a camera. So from the camera section, I choose Karana and create one here. I select its target and with the align tool, snap it directly onto the camera. Click OK. Now let's lower the target a bit and in the top view, move the camera and target together to the exact center of the element. By pressing C, we automatically switch to the camera view and here to get a more perspective view. Looks pretty good. I usually use Corona renderer for animations. So here I choose Corona renderer and the output size can be HD TV. Now I move the camera back a bit and with the field of view function, narrow it to get an isometric view. We can rotate slightly left or right to get the desired view. If you want to see the exact output size in the viewport, we need to activate Show Save Frame. Shortcut is Shift and F together. To light the scene, I will use HDR image, which you can download from polyheaven.com. I go to the studio section and choose an HDR I like. To see how it will reflect, there are options below. Select 4K and click download. Now I open the material library, Click here and from the map sections choose Corona bitmap. Then find and open the HDR image. The mode needs to be spherical. To assign this HDR to the scene, go to the scene environment, choose single map and drag the HDR image from the material library here. Make sure to choose instance. Now our HDR is ready. Any change made to the HDR in the material library will also instantly reflect in the scene. Let's reduce the simple exposure a bit. And now work on the materials. In the material library, click any slot and from material choose Corona legacy material. Now our material is created. Let's assign it to the object and increase the reflection value to see light reflections. Increase the exposure a bit and make the diffuse color closer to black. Increase final ire and slightly reduce glossiness, maybe 0.7. Looks nice. We can rotate the environment direction as we wish. To make the material more realistic, in the general section, adjust reflection and bump maps. Click the box in reflection color and go to the general and apply a dent map. Set the size to 1000 or maybe 50 if needed. Let's make the black color closer to white. Looks good. Copy this map and also assign it to the bump as instance. We can set the bump value to 0.1. Increase the size indent a bit more. Looks quite good. We can lower the bump value, maybe 0.003. Now we prepare our second material. Again from Corona, choose legacy material. Select all objects of the same category and assign the material. Increase reflection, set frame ire to 3 and glossiness to 0.8. Click the box in reflection color and go to the general. We can use a smoke map. Reduce its size to 50 or 10 for a finer detail. Then copy it to bump as instance. If the details are too large, reduce the footer maybe to 1 and adjust the black color towards white. Not bad, but bump 8 might be too strong. Also make the diffusion color slightly darker. Looks good. If the model edges are not soft enough, you can adjust them from the profile editor. Select the top point and edit the curve. After closing, we can see the change applied. Looks good. We can also increase the bevel depth for a soft look. Looks good. Reduce the bump and maybe to 0.1 or 0.3. Increase final ire. Now I move the camera back a bit and with the field of view narrow it to get an isometric view. Adjust the HDR reflection. Open the other material color a bit and reduce the exposure. Darken the diffuse color of the central object slightly. Okay. Zoom in a bit. And I'm shading all steps in order so you can understand the process. Reduce the exposure. To create a heavier, more contrastly atmosphere, click the plus icon here and add filmic shadows. By increasing rich shadows, we get a heavy contrast feel. I reduce the center circle size. When I add an upward light from below, the light can pass through. The central materials have too much reflections, so I reduce the frame ire maybe to 5. Click the HDR image and adjust it in interactive render mode. Now I need to add a light, so I go to the Corona light sections and choose rectangles from the shape. Go to the top view. From below you can see it's facing down. To make it face up, rotate it using snap tools, make it easier. We can see the bottom lights reflection on the model. Increase its intensity and give it a slightly bluish color. Looks good. Rise the light slightly. From the left view I see it's not perfectly upright, so rotate it properly upward. Back in the scene, the AGR reflection isn't great. Adjust its rotation. Add a bit more bloom, activate bloom and glare. Increase size and bloom intensity slightly. Not bad. Now add a helper light. Very cool. Disable visible directly and hide it from other lights. Increase the radius. Keep the color white for now and reduce its intensity. Maybe increase slightly. A slightly bluish tone looks nice. Increase white balance to warm up the scene. When enlarging the render window, I noticed the central object's bump is too strong, so I reduce to 0.1. Now I add depth of field for a more realistic looks. Draw a dummy, align it to the center of the circles and link with the central circle. This way, even during animation, focus stays on the circle. Increase the bevel extra slightly. Select the camera, activate depth of field, choose object and pick the dummy. You can see the blur effect now. Set f-stop to 2 for more noticeable blur. To see what the dummy does. Move it. The focus follows it. We can tweak the perspective, and to select the lower light, press Shift G, select it, press Shift G again to bring back the geometry. Adjust the light tone to be more bluish for a futuristic view. Increase white balance and adjust contrast as you like. When blurred bump isn't visible, so increase bump a bit more and give it a slightly bluish color. Rise simple exposure 2. You can add another helper dummy to move multiple objects together. Link them to the dummy. Move the timeline slider to frame 30. Activate Alt K and move the object up or down. You'll see the keyframes created. Or simply use the plus and key icon here to add a keyframe. Then return to the first frame and move the dummy. Adjust smoothness from curve editor. We can delete the second circle animation the same way. In curve editor, make the first keyframe linear, the last one smooth. Looks good. For camera movement, select the camera, set FPS and end frame to 50, click OK. Move the camera slightly at the last frame, and in curve editor, make both start and end keyframes linear for equal speed. Looks smooth. Increase exposure a bit more. To export as animation, go to the render setup, choose active time segments and set render output. I will export it as a sequence. For high quality, use target sequence. For testing, I will use GPA for a smaller size. Set pass to 50, each frame will render 50 passes before moving on. Adjust output size as designed. Once render is complete, import the sequence into your editing software. I use After Effects. Double-click in the project panel, go to the output folder, click on one image, and make sure import sequence is activated. Click import to see the animation ready. Since our exported sequence FPS is 30 in After Effects, go to the interpret footage, main settings, confirm it's 30 frames per second and click OK. And that is the final result. I hope you learned something useful. If you want more videos like this, hit like and follow me.